Hi there and welcome back for my third video, which I've actually managed to keep going with one a week for 3 weeks, which is better than I thought I might. And as I said last week, I will be reviewing a copy of Magnet, a magazine that's about art and creativity, creativity and worship, encouraging you to be more creative in your worship, encouraging you to be more worshipful with your creativity, and just talking about creativity in general. So to start off with, I have to give a couple of confessions. One confession is that the previous issues I've only just flipped through, so I got a slightly different impression than it was about what it was like. And the other confession is that this actually arrived a few weeks ago, and it's mostly about Christmas and the run up to Christmas, Advent, Christmas. Particularly, it must have arrived in November at some point because it was an article on Remembrance Sunday. Very good article. If you want to check that out, you can check it out on their website. But my impression of the magazine was slightly off because I thought it was just about creativity and worship, art, and particularly art, with a focus on art, and it's not exactly. It's about creativity in general, any sort of creativity. For instance, there's an article in here about a minister who goes into prisons and the way she talks to people, the things she organises in the prisons. There's also an article on an unusual food bank in Oxford, which is, here we go, page 8, article on an interesting unusual food bank in Oxford. And what this does is it cooks for people. Most food banks will just give away tinned food. This one goes around to collect food from wholesalers and retailers, and then distributes it to local charities that cook for, or turn it into meals for people. So it's more than just giving people food. It helps build relationships between people, both those who cook for people and those who receive the food. There's also an article about a church which bought the site of a closed down pub near the church, and in this, it's called a truly public house, and they called it by the pub's name. The pub was called the Mitre. They still call it the Mitre, but now it's a cafe bar / restaurant with an emphasis on community. So people come from the local community, and everyone is cared for. That's what they aim to do. They aim to make sure that good food and drink are served, but also that everyone feels welcome there, feels comfortable there. And whoever it is, whoever comes in, everyone is welcome. They don't make any judgment. They just come in and they just talk to you, and you're welcome to stay for as long as you like. And so it says here, the people of the church turned it into a centre for the community and a hub for life in the area. It's a sign of commitment from the people of the church to the community they serve, and a fresh expression of a truly public house, one where everyone is welcome in the name of Christ. So whatever you think about Christians and alcohol, it's amazing what these people are doing, how they're changing their community, and I think that's something that's truly exciting. There's an article about somebody who's developing stuff in his area from the Men's Shed Project, or at least the Men's Shed Project inspired him. He calls it the workbench. So what that does, or Men's Shed Project, if you've ever known about it, came from the idea that men don't like talking face to face, but they will quite happily do things together, do projects together, and they'll be able to chat side to side. So they set up projects where people could go and make stuff. They would teach them how to make stuff if they didn't know, and while they were making stuff, they would be sort of mentors who would just be there teaching people how to make stuff, but also would be there to listen to whatever the men wanted to say. And he's developing his own version of that, where he's not just talking to men, but talking to anyone in his local area. He's developing internships, apprenticeships for young people, teaching them how to set up their own business, teaching them how to make things, how to shape tools, how to and trying to be creative in every way, in collecting tools, in seeing the worth of people. And then there's articles, and another thing there is an article on toilet twinning. There's an article that tells you how important it is for toilets, but also it talks about actually the origin of the toilet twinning organisation, and that's quite creative. It starts off from alternative gifts. If you don't know what alternative gifts are, that's something that charities started a few years ago, well, quite a few years ago now, where they did things, very simple things, like they would have a project and they would say that people in an area needed a goat, or needed a house built or whatever, and you could donate, and they would give you a certificate which you could give as a present, saying that this amount that you have given a house to this person in this area, you have given a goat, you have given a startup for a business, whatever it was. That was what alternative gifts is, and it's still going. In lots of charities do it. But somebody bought her husband a toilet and put on it. So she took a picture of it and wrote something on it, and he caught that idea. So she had a picture of a toilet which he put up above his own toilet, a framed picture, and he caught that idea and thought, we can do something with this. And out of that has grown a project in conjunction with Tearfund, who now run it, called Toilet Twinning, and you can look that up on toilettwinning.org. Go on, twin your own toilet. So that's all well and good. Lots of brilliant stuff, creativity, creative ideas, ideas becoming reality, all sorts of ideas. But what about art? Art and worship. Well, actually, art and worship is all the way through it. It's got lots of recipes because it's Christmas. They've decided to do a focus on food. They've done a article on a Brazilian Christmas. They've also done liturgy, various forms of liturgy with poetry and pictures. One thing that's here is this particular article is by somebody who's written a poem, and he's also done these prints, which are all different prints, that are meditations on various names of God. And so there's various things like that: prayers, Bible studies, looking at various aspects of the Christmas story, also looking at liturgy and art, and then they just do pictures of various artists throughout. This is one by Hannah Dunnett. Hannah Dunnett is someone I've come across before. I used to at New Wine a couple of times. I mentioned that I've been there before. I did some voluntary work in the art gallery, and Hannah Dunnett was one of the most popular artists there. Also, her husband, her website is benandhannahdunnett.com. Another one here, the article is called A Female Moses, and the piece of art here is called Firewoman. And the artist, the sculptor Caroline Mackenzie, is an artist, theologian trained in London and Bangalore in India. And she says her idea behind this piece is that Firewoman is not avoiding a male, but she does not want to be passive in her relationship with him. Talking in a report about sexual abuse by and of young people called If Only Someone Had Listened, one of the girls is quoted as saying, "I am not a thing, I am a human being." And it's challenging the idea that people have that women are meek, mild and maternal. So there, just let you see the picture again, the sculpture again, a picture of the sculpture. And this one here is my favourite picture of the whole magazine, double page spread. That one's called The Windsock Visitation by Brother Michael O'Neill McGrath. So that shows just a quick overview of the things you'll find in a Magnet magazine. It's not just about art, it's about creativity, but certainly it doesn't shy away from the interesting, the colourful, the unusual, and definitely covers a lot of artists in the magazine. So I'll put up the details of the magazine if you want to look at it. It's online. It's so you know, it's got its own website with all the articles are online. So if there's anyone who wants to check out various things, it's there. And if you like the magazine, if you like what you see online, you could even subscribe. So that's what I've done today, what I've been doing this week. Hope you like the video, and next week, hopefully will be next video, but hopefully next week I'll be talking about the first in a list of excuses. If you had a look at last week's video, you'll understand what I was talking about there. Okay, goodbye.